that we start with a photograph. Yeah. So can I request people to put on their cameras for a few seconds, yeah? And smile your biggest smiles. Yeah, and let me take a picture. Ready? Yeah. Okay, we've got one. Let me take one more. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you so much for obliging. All right. Shall we start? Yeah. Can I have a show of hands of those who have no exposure to transactional analysis? Okay. 1, 2, and just 2 people? Okay. Okay, good. That's great. So most people have, but I will explain briefly what strokes are for those who have no exposure to transactional analysis, but most of you have a sense of what strokes are. Maybe you've read about Claude Steiner's work. Yeah, he's written a little bit about Strokesity. He's written a lot about strokes. So I call this an experiment, even though he's done it before, because there's very little written material available on it, and I had to figure it out a lot through experimentation, and there isn't one standard way to do this. I myself have tried 6 different variants of, and each time had a different experience. I'll share this with all of you. Yeah. So I'm going to, can you see my, so I just want to copy the article. I'm just stopping share for a minute, and I'll put the link to the article on chat. Yeah. So you all can copy it and keep it. Hopefully you can read the article after the session. Yeah. All right. So let me start. So in this session today, I'll present the design and outcomes of an experimental learning group inspired by Claude Steiner's contact groups called Strokesity. So these are people who sit together and exchange strokes and learn about themselves in the process of exchanging strokes. I'll invite you to experience some of the exercises. We'll talk about what you feel about a group such as this, the relevance today. Do you feel it's easy to do? How will it help communities, etc.? Yeah, so that's a contract for the content. If I were to look at contract for process, the standard contracts of confidentiality. Yeah, actually, I should remove that because we are going to have it up on YouTube. So whatever is here will be shared in the larger space. So sorry about that. Voluntary participation, participate to the extent that you want. At some point, I'll request you to hide non-video participants because I'll be working with one group in Strokesity. Is everyone familiar with the hide non-video participants feature? If not, I'll talk just before that so that we can have a particular group on the screen. And then we have designated time for questions towards the end. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah. All right. So let's start with an exercise. Does everyone have paper or pen handy? If you don't, you can take a minute, get it. What I'd like you to do is write down 10 reasons for someone else to like you or admire you. So essentially, I'm asking you to give a stroke to yourself. 10 strokes, write 10 positive things about you. And make sure you are admiring yourself. Don't say, I like travel, because that's not a stroke, but say, I am a great travel companion. Yeah. That should be a reason for someone else to like you or admire you. That someone else could be you too. So give yourself positive strokes. Write 10 strokes for yourself and be very mindful of what's going on for you as you do this. Yeah, if you hear some sentences or voices in your head, just attend to that and see what is the voice saying. 30 seconds more. I like how engrossed all the people are in writing strokes for themselves. That's lovely. All right. You don't have to share the strokes, but please share with me, how was it? What were some of your first responses when I said, write 10 strokes for yourself?
So happy.
Happy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy to come up with 10?
Yeah.
Okay, lovely.
Wasn't
Not for
actually
me.
easy,
It's not
Rona.
easy. Yeah.
Okay. Who said it wasn't easy?
Me too, Prakash.
Okay. Yeah. Prakash, you want to tell me a little more? What was going on for you?
So at the first instance when this question was posed to us, I thought it will be a cakewalk to write 10 things. But when I started doing it, I think after 2-3 things, it started going blank as to why will people like me anymore beyond these points. So it was really difficult to find out more.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Same as Prakash. Okay.
I want
Same
to
here. Yeah.
Yeah, similar experience as Prakash. So after 5 or 6, my critical voice in the head started saying, "Oh, you are not that good. Why are you writing 10 things? 6, 7 mein ho gaya." So
Oh.
those thoughts started coming.
Okay.
Same
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
I also had
struggled
the
after
same
8.
feeling.
Sorry, Lakshmi, were you saying something?
It's Sheetal. I said I struggled after 8.
Okay.
I could
Okay.
manage till 8, and then I said, okay, now more, what more?
Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
I heard
I'm
Lakshmi
proud
right.
of myself.
I cringed. Lakshmi, can you tell me about the cringing?
What do you want to know about the cringing? Sorry, it was.
Tell me, what was the belief that led to the cringing? Something process. Yeah, that
One
led.
second. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question. Can you repeat?
I said, can you tell your body reacted to it by cringing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what might have been the reason that your body reacted like that?
I think it's because I was forcing myself to do this. It didn't come very naturally. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if we look at the assumption, some of us may find maybe the belief is, oh God, why should we praise ourselves? Maybe it's a cultural assumption that praise should come from others, not from us. So that could be some of the reasons, yeah, why we hesitate or we hold back, or maybe we don't think we are that great. So are you saying, yes, we have 2 hands up and then we will not have any more sharing? So Ashwini and Binu, yes, Ashwini.
The exercise was, I was a little bit hesitant. There was a little bit of discomfort.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, I would say it was much easier than when I did in TA 101.
Okay, you had a similar exercise there.
Yeah.
So
So
something has changed. Something has changed from then to now for you to be able to appreciate yourself more.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. So you may not have changed, but you may be the same person, but your lens with which you are seeing yourself has changed. Yeah. Yes, Binu.
I'm proud of myself.
Lovely. So sometimes a simple exercise like this can help us get in touch with our script. Is everyone familiar with scripts? Script is a kind of narrative or a story about who we are, what our place in the world is, what we deserve, who we are in relation to others. So sometimes a sentence like, "What's so great about me?" Yeah, is part of this larger narrative. It's an unconscious narrative that drives the way we respond to here and now stimulus in the world today. Yeah. So strokes, we can see, like, understanding our stroke filters gives us access to our larger story or our script. Sorry if sometimes I see that, because there are many of you, some of you may raise your hand and I may not be able to attend. So I'm asking for forgiveness right away. So why this experiment? Yeah. So in 2004, Claude Steiner was here in India for a conference, and his was one of the most popular workshops in the conference. And I remember him getting a set of people together and asking them to give each other strokes. And the whole group of 200 people were mesmerized by that process. And I said, I have to do it sometime. And I ran my first group, I think 14 or 16 years later. I had that idea, sitting on that idea for so many years. It seemed like a simple idea to implement. And people love the idea of strokes. I find in TA 101, when I teach the various ideas, the idea that appeals to people immediately is the idea of strokes. It seems applicable. People recognize their own need for strokes. It touches them at that level, and they get very engaged. So it's an easy way to attract people to understand TA theory. And Claude Steiner said he used to run this very often in his office. And he says people would come for 2 hours every Wednesday afternoon. And for the 2 hours, they just give each other strokes. That was the work. And he said they would feel light and happy and energized and full of love for each other and for the world at large. So he concluded, and he's written several papers about love. And he says we aren't really talking in theory about the idea of love and what blocks love. And he's written some very angry papers on critical parent. He says the critical parent is the enemy of love. And he says we have to no space for critical parent. So it's like we can drive the critical parent out with a broom. It feels like that. Yeah. But he said one way for people to reclaim their loving capacities is to learn how to give and receive strokes. And if you've read his book, Emotional Literacy, he says when we learn to give strokes, we open our hearts. Yeah. So he connected strokes to love. And I was very intrigued by that. And I said, I want to see if we run Stroke City, does it increase people's loving capacities? Yeah. And I also wanted to look at formats for working with groups, because working with groups is very interesting. And this looked like an interesting, easy format to work with groups. And for me, what was most attractive was it was a way of practicing transactional analysis proper. So I don't know how many of you understand the term TA proper. So Byrne conceived of transactional analysis to make the intrapsychic observable. Our inner worlds are available to others in the way we transact. Yeah, so that's why he wrote the book, What Do You Say After You Say Hello? He says the way we say hello, the way we engage with others, who we are attracted to, is what is available outside, the games we get into, and these transactions reveal what's going on for us internally. So his work in groups was to look at transactional exchanges between people and help people learn about their unconscious process from these transactions. So from the observable to the intrapsychic or internal. So actually analyzing transactions, this was quite exciting to me because we've got our name TA from transactional analysis, right? So how to use TA proper. Yeah, so any questions? So far, is it interesting for all of you? Yeah.
I have
Great.
one question, Aruna.
Yes.
So I have a very basic and limited knowledge about, frankly speaking, about transaction
Yes.
analysis.
Sure.
When I heard this word stroke and you were explaining in the last few minutes, I just and you said critical parents are maybe are out of it. They should not be the ones that we want to include here. So uh, is talking about somebody's improvement area, which we call as critiquing somebody else, shouldn't that be a part of stroke, because that also helps in somebody's development?
Sure.
So how do we?
Yeah. Giving feedback is a stroke. Yeah. If we give feedback in an empowering way, it will be a positive stroke. If we give feedback in a way that makes someone not okay, it discounts their agency, it discounts their dignity, then that's a negative stroke. Yeah. But feedback is a stroke. Yeah. I'll talk about what strokes are. So let me start by what stroke city is, because the goal today is for me to present the ideas in the paper that I wrote in Sajta. So Stroke City was an experiential learning group for people to learn how to exchange authentic strokes. Yeah. How to get strokes for themselves, how to create a context for stroke abundance for themselves. It consisted of a closed group. Closed group means once they join, the group stays intact. There's no people coming and going. The group met. I started with 6 sessions, and now I do 4 sessions. You can do as many sessions as you want. I think Claude Steiner had an open group. He didn't have a closed group, so people could come any Wednesday that they were free and participate in these. And when they meet for an hour, they exchange strokes. Yeah, so they give each other strokes. We attend to here and now process in Stroke City. So for those of you who don't have a background and have not attended a TA 101, a simple introduction to strokes. A stroke is a unit of attention or recognition. So if I were to say hi Prakash, and Prakash says hi to me, we've exchanged attention. This is the simplest exchange. We exchange energies. Do you feel when you interact with people, there's some energy exchange? Does eye contact change your body in some way? Yeah, it does. So there is some exchange that happens, and which is why we call it transactional analysis. Monzi, I see your hand is up. If there's a quick question, I can answer that. Otherwise, I'd request people to hold questions till the end. Yes, Monzia.
Why is it called unit? I mean,
Well,
unit of recognition or attention. Is it something cluster of so many recognitions, or?
I don't know why he chose the word unit. It's a stroke is, and in this moment, if I attend to you, that's a unit of recognition. It's loosely unit, so it doesn't lead to a mathematical formula or anything. Like when you asked a question, I stopped the presentation, I attended to you. That was a stroke. So it's a unit of attention that you got.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So he got the term stroke from the gentle touch that we use for babies. And he found that the health of babies was very dependent on touch. Yeah, and he was writing at the time of the World War, and at that time a lot of children were abandoned or orphaned, and they were in centers, and they found that a marked differentiator was engagement with another adult, and that was the health of babies who were just fed and changed versus health of babies who were who could engage with a direct caretaker, there was a marked difference. And there were experiments around that time where ill babies were picked up and stroked and put back and they recovered. So he got the idea that strokes were vital for a baby's survival and growth. And would you all intuitively agree? I think there's enough research that says animals, the cows that are stroked will give more milk. Plants that are spoken
Plants, yeah.
they are healthier. So there's something very healing and empowering and growth creating about the value of touch. Now, as we become older, we can be touched in so many ways. We need physical touch, certainly, but we are touched by other things as well. Like we are touched when someone offers us a cup of tea. We call it touched. Yeah, it's a stroke. So the ways in which we learn that we are loved, we belong, people care about us, we matter, all those things, all those ways in which we learn that others care for us, we call strokes. Yeah, it's a unit of recognition or attention. And strokes can be classified into positive or negative. So a positive stroke makes me feel okay, enhances my growth, enhances my sense of okayness. A negative stroke usually diminishes my sense of okayness, carries pain. So what kind of strokes do we want? Positive strokes or negative strokes?
Positive.
Positive.
So all of us want positive strokes. So I often say that if a child is drawing on the walls with crayons and the parent comes and yells at the child and goes back, is the child likely to stop drawing or continue drawing?
Maybe continue.
Continue.
Maybe continue. So what is the rule about strokes that you're getting?
Any stroke
If I
is better
need
than
cooperation,
Any stroke is better than no stroke.
no.
So while positive strokes are better than negative strokes are better than no strokes. Yeah. And we are all like that toddler. We have big bodies, but we have the same needs for attention, like that of that toddler. And negative attention is also attention. Yeah. We need attention for our growth. Also, when we are used to a certain kind of attention, like if you've been called stupid through our childhood, that's the attention that will feel familiar and safe in adult life. So we will attract strokes, stupid strokes. We'll act in ways that make people call us stupid. Are you getting a sense of positive? So positive strokes are better than negative strokes are better than no strokes. And if we have a structure for strokes that we develop in our childhood, we will set up the same structure for ourselves in adult life because we feel familiar and safe in that structure. Yeah. And one more thing about strokes, who determines whether a stroke is positive or negative?
the receiver.
The receiver. Because I might say, oh, you're so beautiful, but you might say, oh, she wants something from me. I better. So, or she say, why is she calling me beautiful? She's been seeing me for 10 years. Why today? Yeah. So it's whether you see the stroke as positive or not is dependent on your stroke filter. And we let only those strokes in that fit in with what we believe about ourselves and the world. So Claude Steiner, Byrne called strokes hunger. So hunger means if we are very hungry and there's no good food, we'll eat rotten food. We might snatch food from others. So similarly with strokes, if there aren't enough positive strokes, we will attract negative strokes. We will act in desperate ways to get strokes. Strokes can be verbal or non-verbal, things we say, things we do, or they can be conditional or unconditional, which is strokes for who I am or strokes for what I do. Yeah. Our health depends on our emotional health is very directly linked to how stroke filled I feel. If I feel stroke deprived, I will be cranky, irritable, upset. But the more my stroke needs are met, I will be able to function in an okay manner. So it is our responsibility to know how to get our stroke needs met. Do you think strokes are available in a plentiful way in the world? They are actually very inexpensive.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything to smile at people. But if you ask people, their wound is they aren't getting enough strokes. They aren't being accepted. They aren't for who they are. They aren't getting the kind of love that they would like. So somehow what is plentiful and abundant has become constrained. And that's what he called the stroke economy. Yeah, and he says these are the myths, and I'm just going to spend 2 minutes on this because I want to talk really about stroke city, which is people believe that we shouldn't give strokes freely because it might make other people, for whatever reason. Strokes must be held because then I can have power over you. Don't ask for strokes because then I'll feel weak and needy and helpless, and I don't want that. I'll pretend I don't need any strokes. If someone gives me a stroke, it's not very modest to accept it, or I might become vulnerable if I accept it. So I don't accept strokes that are good for me. Sometimes some strokes are not good for me, but I don't know how to reject it. Yeah, I'll make that the truth. And then I will only rely on other people for strokes. I won't give myself strokes. So these are rules for being miserable. And many of us learn these rules as part of growing up. So these are, and every culture may have its own unique rules, but these rules are quite universal. Yeah, for some reason, we find that these hold true in many cultures. So now, what's our job? We need, if we want to get more strokes for ourselves, so what's the simplest way to get strokes?
Ask.
Give them.
Ask,
Strokes,
give.
yeah.
Giving is even simpler. If you talk to someone and say, hello, how are you? Very high chance that they'll say, how are you back? So you gave a stroke, you got something back. So if we want more strokes, we need to learn to challenge the rules of the stroke economy. So giving strokes, asking for strokes, accepting strokes, learning to reject strokes that are not good for us, and learning to give ourselves strokes. Yeah, like who was saying that from the TA 101 to now, I am finding it easier to give myself strokes. I'm learning to give myself strokes. So what's Stroke City? It's an experiential group where people learn to challenge their stroke economies. Yeah. So in a group, they've become very observant of what they give, what they take, how they feel when strokes are being exchanged. And in the process, they learn about themselves. Yeah. So this is one. So I put lots of examples in the article, and I'm going to ask you to read the article, but I'm going to share with you one example. So in the Stroke City group, Yamini spoke to Nidhi and she said, how was my articulation? I'm asking you because you will give me genuine feedback. And when Krishna, a third person, listened to it, she felt hurt. That why is Yamini thinking only Nidhi can give her genuine feedback? Even I can give her genuine feedback. So you can see this is what in transactional analysis we call a carom transaction. A carom transaction is two people are transacting, but a message is gone to somebody else. And this is how we would diagram it. So she heard, so she is talking to Nidhi, but she thought Yamini was telling her, I don't think you can give me negative feedback. I don't think you can give me genuine feedback. So what is Krishna to do? She believes this. She thinks she's got a negative stroke. What would you do if you were Krishna? And you had to be authentic, and you had a constraint, a rule, some ground rule that be authentic with each other.
I might talk to Yamini.
Yeah, and what would you say?
Not. I'll say, hey, do you remember last time when I gave you feedback was not genuine or something like that? I might refer to something that happened in the past or something like that. But I would talk to her in some acceptable manner, not in a confrontational manner.
Okay, good. So you're saying you will talk to her, but you might say, hey, the last time I gave you feedback, how was it? So it's It's what we call an ulterior way of asking for a stroke. It's not direct. So
Can I share? I have
yes,
something
yes,
that's
Shobna.
coming.
Yeah.
So what's coming to me is, I would say, I feel sad when I heard you say that.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel
and
sad. And
yeah.
and is there anything you would ask for?
Perhaps is there a way I would like to contribute? Is there a way, I'd like to connect with you. I'd like to feel connected.
Okay.
And I'm missing connection. I think that's a feeling that I'm taking away from Krishna.
Sure, sure. I'm feeling sad and I'd like a connection with you.
Hmm.
As Yamini, if I were Yamini, I'd find that puzzling because it is coming without context. And I'd say, how come you're saying that? Are you getting a sense of how so there's some hesitation again to be direct. Are you able to see how the stroke economy rules are operating? Yeah. Sheetal, we can have the last sharing from Sheetal and then.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is maybe I'll, since we are in the same room, I might say, since you're asking, I also have something to offer. Can I share that with you?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I also have something to offer. Can I share that with you? Okay, great. I'll tell you about the guidelines of the stroke economy, stroke city, which is we don't lie. Yeah, and we don't lie and we don't, so there are no lies of commission, which is I don't have secrets. No lies, no secrets. That's the rule. So if I'm feeling confused about why she's not asking me, does she think I can't give her genuine feedback? The rule in Stroke City is you voice that. So a direct voicing will be, I feel sad if you feel sad. If you don't feel sad, you don't have to say that. I feel sad. I want to ask, do you think I won't give you genuine feedback? And can you see the directness of this? Yeah, and there's an opportunity for Yamini to explain. So Krishna did that. She asked Yamini, I'm curious, do you think I won't give you genuine feedback? Now remember, no secrets, no lies. So if Yamini thinks Krishna doesn't give her genuine feedback, the ground rules of Stroke City are Yamini must say it. Yeah, in an okay manner. So Yamini said, yes, I think I've seen you being nice to people. I'm not able to trust that you will be objective. So this was an exchange that happened. So now Krishna has feedback on how she's seen. Are you getting a sense of how Stroke City works and what demands it makes of people in the group? And it's learning, moving from games to intimacy. So this kind of conversation, which do you not value my input? Actually, I don't. Yeah. It's not that I don't want to value it, but this kind of exchange is what we call an intimate exchange, where there's no pressure to be somebody else. You can be yourself in the relationship. So what we can see in Stroke City, we are learning how to really get our needs met in very honest, authentic, okay manner. What does authentic relating mean really? Yeah. And is it easy for me to be authentic like that? So that was the objective of Stroke City. If you enjoyed this example, there are at least 6 or 7 examples in the article. Read those. Yeah, and my role as a facilitator is to just hold the contracts. And I'll talk to you about this, has special contracts, sometimes ask facilitative questions and encourage people to take risks. This group is completely experiential in that there's no teaching, there's no theory, etc. So the little bit of stroke theory that I did, I do a 1 hour or 1.5 hours in the beginning, and that's it. There's no more teaching of stroke theory in this group. So what are these contracts? Yeah, and Claude Steiner came up with these. He called these the cooperative contracts, which is no lies. Don't say what you don't mean. So if someone asks you, do you like me? If you don't like the person, don't say I like you. That's a lie of commission. And no lies of omission. So if I'm feeling upset, if I sit quietly and nobody knows I'm upset, that's a lie of omission. So that he calls secrets. So no lies, no secrets. Everyone commits to it. and then ask for 100% of what you want. So, so for instance, like if Shobana, if you want to be considered for this, you won't say, I want a connection with you. You would say, I want to give you feedback. I want you to ask me for feedback. So very clear, very direct, asking for what you want. So you are not, so it's an invitation to step out of a victim role. No critical parent, that was his rule. Yeah. So in fact, he's written a brief article in the TAJ called No Space for the Critical Parent. He was the one who gave the name Pick Parent and all of that. He really didn't like that part. Yeah, and no rescuing. So essentially stay out of drama roles and no lies and no secrets. Do you think you'll be able to hold this contract if you were part of a Stroke City group? Are these easy to hold?
They are tough. They are tough. But I think having someone lead and having that safety of the facilitator will give me a sense of safety to engage in being honest and authentic.
Yeah, yeah. And people do their best. But we know that despite awareness and despite committing to these contracts, our scripts will play up. Yeah, and how our scripts show up, these contracts sharply bring our scripts into awareness. And that's the value of these contracts. So I had a little exercise I wanted to do for you to experience these cooperative contracts, but I don't think we have time for that.
I have a question, Aruna.
Yes, yes, Sukanya.
So you're saying that, like when you are a part of the Stroke City, you have to be absolutely authentic, no games. Now, let's say we are part of this group and each of us barely know each other. And we are here to give positive strokes, which are again supposed to be authentic. Now,
Yes.
over here, might as well my driver behaviors come to the front, as in like my driver behavior is to please others.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
will that lead to authentic stroke sharing? Or is it just, I'll take it as a compulsion that, okay, fine, this is a group and this is the instruction and I'm playing by it.
Yeah, yeah. So you're immediately becoming aware of the script, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. So you don't have to give a stroke if you don't have a stroke to give. Yeah. So those are then you're not being true to yourself. But even if you see, we would have engaged in an orientation program for an hour where participants would have had some kind of exchanges. We have to see, is it possible for me as I sit here in this room? There are 7 or 8 others. Do I have anything positive to offer to anyone?
Okay. Okay.
So you become aware, or am I becoming very aware of my fear about what will I say? So even saying I'm scared is an ask for strokes.
Okay.
Because if you say it's an ask for nurturing, are you able to see that?
Yeah. Yeah. And also observant, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's to become more mindful of internal process and say, what do I do now? You do have a need. And
Right.
you express it. That's why we do it 4 to 6 sessions. Games are inevitable despite the contract. But then we say now these contracts are held not just by the facilitator, they are held by the group also. Yeah. So, and when a game happens, we can pause and say, something's happened. Shall we make the ulterior social and see what's going on? And yeah, can we be as direct? Can we experiment with intimacy and be true and see how it is received by the other? Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So maybe we can do this exercise. I'm thinking maybe we can do it. So I'm going to break you into groups of 3. How many of us are there? There are 49 of us. So I'll make you into groups of 3. So one will be an observer and one can be A and the other can be B. Yeah. So A asks B for a stroke. So asking is the most difficult. Everyone. So see how the experience is for you. A asks B for a stroke. B may or may not offer the stroke. Are you with me? A asks B for a stroke. B may or may not offer the stroke. And then A responds to B's stroke by sharing how I'm feeling. So for instance, if somebody says, you look like you'll be a leader of an organization. Yeah, suppose somebody says that. Say if you say I'm smiling, but I don't know if I believe you. Yeah, share your honest response to the stroke. Or I'm very curious, how did you say this about me? Yeah, so are you getting, so see if you can stay with the cooperative contract. No lies, no secrets, and no drama roles. No persecution, no rescuing. Trust that the other person can take care of their feelings. And no being victim. Ask for what you need. It's just an experiment. Just observe yourself. Is that all right? Okay. So I'll give you 10 minutes for this. Thank you, Nisha. I think we'll take just put it on. How was the experience? I'll listen to. We'll just put it on chat so that we have more voices. Were you able to hold on to the contract? That's the question. Awkward. Okay, now I don't know. I'm curious about why awkward and why amazing, but we don't have time. Thrilling. Okay, so I have to hear why thrilling. Why thrilling, Aarti? Is Aarti?
Well, yeah, I'm here. We were four of us and had this need to ask for a stroke.
Yeah.
So I just wanted the space towards the end. You know, I have this need, I want a stroke. It was thrilling, and the strokes actually really sat with me. I felt powerful, could really take it in. So the whole experience was thrilling for me.
Okay. The fact that you asked and what you got and how you changed physically. So you said, when you said you sat with me, there's something, your hand went like that.
Yes,
yeah.
Really grounded me. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Okay. And it's okay for people to have different experiences. Yeah. So now what I really want to give you all at least a 10-minute experience of an actual Stroke City group. So what I need is like 5 volunteers. Yeah. Be aware that this is getting recorded. Okay. We have Shobna, we have Samhita, another Sheetal 3, Monzia 4, and Aarti 5. Done. We have Mr. Gonsalves. So that's 6. That's fine. We'll do it with 6. Now the rest of you can go off video, and everyone please go to video settings and choose the hide non-video participants option. So finally we'll be able to see only these 6 on screen. Can everybody else go off video? Nisha, you'll also have to do that because your screen will get recorded. Can Badri, Prakash go off video? Yeah, okay. Fine. We have the group here. Yeah, there are 6 of us, and we will have, okay, 1 person dropped out. Yeah, that's 1, 2. Yeah, that's fine. We are 6 of us. What I'd like you to do is spend the next 10 minutes giving, asking, accepting the strokes and stating your here and now process. Yeah. Whatever emerges in 10 minutes is just fine. You remember the contracts? We're ready to start.
I'm feeling embarrassed all of a sudden. and exposed to ask. That's what I'm sitting with right now.
Shobna, not to worry. I am still there around. We can continue from where we left off. So you need not feel alone.
Was that the stroke you needed, Shobna?
I'm feeling very comforted. I'm feeling very comforted by your words. Yeah.
I did feel little unsure about entering, though I was thrilled to participate. But since the recording was on, for me it was a little dilemma: should I go? Should I not go? And then I said it's okay. So I'm just glad that I chose to do that, in spite of having that a little consciousness around that this is going to be on a social media. And yeah, that's what I have to share in this here and now moment.
Yeah, also share, do you want anything from the group as a result of why you're sharing this? Is there something you want?
I don't need anything. I just needed to, so that it doesn't stay in my body, that nervousness. Yeah. So for me, it just sharing, I'm sharing because it might help me to just, because that is one of my fear, which I was struggling for some time, little conscious of social exposure. And I thought I can use, this, that just feel comfortable and do it.
Okay.
I have a question. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, actually, Sheetal, you need not really be so worried about the way you feel.
Okay,
actually, you can consider yourself very, yeah.
No, there's a contract, no rescuing.
Okay.
She's not asked for anything. So
Okay.
check with her if she needs something before you offer it.
Okay. Okay.
I had a question for Sheetal. Would that be okay to ask at this point? So Sheetal, as I heard you share, I was wondering if you wanted us to hear what you were sharing. You said you wanted to share. Was it important to be heard? Was what I was sitting with.
No, Shobna.
Sheetal, when you spoke, I became aware of some excitement in my body, a restlessness, and I also started to feel hunger. And something I realized is that I'm hungry for strokes. And sometimes I feel guilty because I'm so hungry, even in volunteering or being one of the first people to have my hands up because I wanted strokes so much. So I wanted to share that your sharing opened up that space for me to realize that.
Wow. Sure.
I also want to share something. Like when Sheetal shared, that time I actually came into the reality because I volunteered, I jumped, and then I thought, oh my God, everyone is switching off their videos, everyone is seeing me. So I'm between two polarities. Like my child is very much scared and it is wanting for comfort, soothing. I mean, asking for the group to soothe me, save me. At the same time, I'm telling myself, okay, you are an adult, you can hold yourself. So I'm dancing between these two polarities right now. So thank you, Sheetal, for sharing. It also helped me to open up.
Sure, I'm just feeling like I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah. Can I go on?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to share what I'm sitting with, and I'd like to stroke for that. So initially I was sitting with fear, and I was really checking with myself, do I feel the need to contribute anything? Do I feel the need to ask or receive? It didn't feel true to me. I think a couple of months ago, this same Aarti would have just went about it because have to contribute, and then I would have talked so much. I'm feeling really like I am sitting with fear, but it's a way that, in a way that I'm very grounded to not contribute, to be a part of this process, to be seen this way. And I'm realizing I'm becoming one of those people that I really admire sometimes. Yeah.
So I'm going to invite all of you to talk to each other. Yeah. I think you're all sharing where you are. It's okay to ease into the process. But in sharing where you are, it looks to me that you have some kind of expectation. Are you able to share that? Yeah.
I get a stroke.
You want a stroke? Do you want it from someone? Or
I'm ready to accept it from anyone.
okay.
If someone feels like they can.
I have something to say. When Aruna was sharing that, oh, everyone's sharing this, can ease into the process. And I was thinking, okay, maybe can I ask for this particular stroke from someone? And I thought of you, I wanted something from you, and this is my stroke to you.
That makes me
Not
feel
asking right now, just sharing.
Can I share how that makes me feel?
Sure.
That makes me feel wanted and liked, and it makes me feel warm.
I'm moved to hear that.
I'm also excited that I moved you.
I feel like a childlike happiness.
Me too.
Samita, I think I greatly admire your vulnerability. Phenomenal strength in you.
Thank you. I am very touched by that.
When Aarti and Samita was talking, I felt like my child is dancing and she's telling me to join you too.
Aarti, I felt that very, what do I say, strange when you first asked Samita to, ask for stroke, because she was asking for stroke and you are asking in return. But I'm learning, even though you asked, that made her feel wanted. And that was a little new thing for me to observe, because there was that urge when she asked to give, but you asked in return. I found that very strange and amusing. Yeah.
So I think I set aside only 10 minutes. So we have 1 minute left. Aarti, how do you perceive Sheetal sharing? Is that a stroke, positive stroke, a negative stroke?
It's actually somewhere in between.
Okay.
I felt very okay. I felt silly and nice. I think it's positive stroke, yeah.
I might have asked what made it positive. These are possible questions to ask. I know it's a very short time. I just wanted to give the group a quick sense of how it could look like. People, is it okay if we pause?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being the brave ones who jumped in, and knowing that it was being recorded. I think my deepest gratitude for letting your vulnerability offering the gift of your vulnerability so that others could learn. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for the strokes.
Yeah. Can we request others to come on video? You'll have to switch your video on. Let's take about 2-3 minutes and ask the participants, how was it for you? Before I ask the audience, how was it for you to witness it? Participants, can you share with me anything that is significant for you in sitting in this exercise?
I
felt very, I felt aware of my internal process. Like was watching myself being quiet. So I was wondering what that was about. Very much in touch with my own internal process.
Yeah, yeah. So it really brings you in contact with yourself.
I was aware of my drivers very much. And also, I think at the end, Aruna, when you said, thank you for your vulnerability, I, responded with a thank you for the strokes. And I realized even my thank you was a kind of a discount because there was some filter against the accepting that that my vulnerability is a benefit for others, can be useful.
Okay, okay. So lovely. So as you are transacting, you're becoming aware, is there a filter operating? Is this, am I being truly me? So yeah, okay. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you.
I was aware of my body sensations, smile, and it started hurting at some point, and the fear in my hands and my stomach. But I was also reflective of what I'm introspective across what I was going through.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So I hear you saying all of you are aware of yourself. Yeah. Body, beliefs, process.
For me, it's like initially I had heaviness in my chest. And then when I found the group, though for 10 minutes, very safe and respecting. So that time I found that heaviness. I mean, there is something lighter in my chest, I felt.
Sure, sure.
For me, like it's a awareness which hit me that there was that me being authentic, is it going to hurt people? Like there was that constant thing in my head, and I still chose to say what comes to my mind or I feel in my body. But that was a new awareness for me that, when I was in a group, I was feeling that if I share and be authentic, what I'm, say, for example, telling to
Can I be
Aarti,
authentic without being critical? Yeah, so that'll be the challenge, because the contract is not to judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, anyone else wants to share? Otherwise, I'll open it out to the group.
Yeah, the one thing that came out loud and clear is that authenticity does not necessarily have to be negative. It can be a very, very positive way of communicating.
Absolutely. That we begin to see we have so many strokes that we may not have attended to as strokes.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that actually helps out a lot more is, to actually practice being in the here and now. That goes a long way in terms of generating the strokes, appreciating strokes.
Yeah. Great, great. So it is truly an experience of being in the here and now, seeing script interferences. That's what it is about. I'll open it out to the group now. How was it watching?
So, Rona, sometimes I was in touch with my critical voice when somebody either offered a stroke or something, saying, oh no, that's not the way, or oh shit, this is something like that. But sometimes there were moments of, wow, I mean, this person really asked or offered in a very clean manner, and there was a sense of appreciation. So it was moving in, and that was showing up effectively as what are my rules. So whenever the rule was breached, I had a critical voice coming up. Whenever they were met, or there was a sense of appreciation.
You didn't trust the strokes initially? You thought they were to each other?
No, not some strokes, I felt that way.
Okay.
And that was my meaning of that stroke.
And then you concluded by saying, it's my filter.
Yeah.
And okay.
So because
the
receiver received it more openly than I, and that's when it stood out differently.
Yeah. So how come? Yeah. But the possibility could be if someone else reacts a certain way, do you make yourself wrong? Yeah.
No, it just true. I get you.
That question you don't have to respond. Yeah. Yes, Sukanya.
I don't know, throughout this activity, I was so scared.
Yeah.
I was like, will I be able to handle? I mean, it's even though I wasn't there, I was like, will I be able to handle the appreciation, the flow of appreciation, the genuineness that was flowing between? And so that was at the beginning. And when you identified the rescue, then I realized that the rescuer in me was getting so triggered that what if something goes wrong, then I have to, jump in and I have to rescue. But then again, it went on ease when the conversation started flowing and it started, like everybody started contributing, taking and giving was authentic. So I felt at ease. So I believe the rescuer in me got triggered at that point of time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, both of you are sharing very experiential processes. As you watched, you were very much involved and observing of yourself, and you're sharing what happened to you. And I can see that you're impacted in just watching it. Yeah, maybe one more person can share their personal experience, and then I want to last 10 minutes to talk about the big picture view of this technique and what it could mean for some practitioners here. Yeah, is there anyone else? Yes, Preeti.
I felt it was not genuine throughout, that it would become more genuine as we gave it more time, maybe. I'm not saying not genuine in terms of that there wasn't any truth to the strokes, but the feeling that they wanted to say more but were holding back. And I think Sukanya said, what if something goes wrong?
So there are two. So when you say not genuine, you qualified you're not genuine by saying people had things to say but were holding back. What was said, did you experience that as genuine?
Once or twice, maybe.
Okay, so that also you didn't experience as genuine. Yeah, yeah.
And the sense of not that what if something goes wrong, like Sukanya said, but this feeling that something will go wrong.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Games will. So if you had been part of the group, there was hope. Then my hope would be you say this in the group, and that creates a certain dynamics. Yeah. So there is a piece where one person, I have in the article, if you read, the person who got so upset, she said, "This is all so sugary. Yeah, I can't bear to sit here." And then we processed that in the group and how it was received by others and what she recognized. So all very interesting. Yeah. And yeah, all grist for the mill. Yeah. Any experience is interesting for everyone in the group. Yeah. All right. So shall we take a look at the process? Now, are you curious about the process? Any questions about how to run this? Why to run this? Is there a question about why we should run this? Or is that evident from what we've discussed so far? Yeah, are you able to see how this can help people accomplish the goal of understanding my own stroke economy? Which strokes do I let in? Which strokes do I keep out? What kind of strokes do I give? So now when the online work started, the beauty was we could record the whole session. And then the only homework I would give was go through the video and put down what you learned about yourself. And I might, because all the people were training in TA, I might even give them exercises like diagram transaction or diagram an ulterior transaction. Did you take any drama roles? Did you see a pattern to the kind of strokes you give? Were there some people you were giving more strokes to, some people you were giving less strokes to? So a lot of that was very revealing to people about their patterns. Yeah. So watching the video and making those notes was as much part of the process as being part of the group. Yeah. And the last session, I actually went through all the recordings and I pulled out transactions and I played back those transactions to people and asked, what are they learning about how they, or their own way of giving, receiving, or asking. Yeah, so the last session is really a lot of inputs from me playing back specific transactions. It's a work for me also to go through all the videos, pull out transactions. And so that's how I run it. And this is after lots of experimentation, including day-long sessions. We're teaching theory in the morning, including all kinds of, there are more than 30 articles on strokes in the TAJ, all ended in around 1980. So it looks like strokes became an outdated theory after that. So that's why I called my article Relational Strokesity, that it is still relevant. Transaction analysis proper is not dead. Yeah, we should not let it die. It's so potent. Just 10 minutes of watching ourselves, we can see just a few transactions. We learn so much about ourselves. Yeah, but there's so many unknown articles about strokes. Like there's an article by Richard Erskine called The Stroke Ripoff. There is manufactured strokes. There is using a stroke strategy in therapy. There are lots of little articles which have some nuggets. I would teach those and we would get people to practice that in the, but now I've moved to just the Stroke City Exchange. Watch the video, see what you learned, and then finally we'll make meaning. So it doesn't take too long. People have to give 3 hours a week for 4 weeks, of which 1 hour is in the group, 2 hours is on their own. Yeah. Any other questions about process, theory, structure, anything?
Aruna, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the first session, you might have all the strangers coming up, just like we had in the demo.
Yeah.
However, if the session is going for 1.5 hours, do strangers have that much content to talk about each other, give strokes to each other?
See, if I had slowed down the process further, yeah. So for instance, Sheetal gave a stroke. So I might ask, and I asked Aarti, how did you feel? What was positive? What was not positive? And are you being, if you were to be true to yourself, what would you say? So we slow it down. Time just flies. Yeah, because each person's response triggers. So someone's watching something and they're experiencing fear. So they'll talk about their fear. Or if Preeti is in the group and she says, I see you exchanging strokes, but I'm sitting with discomfort. That I'm wondering if you're being nice to each other. And then she would ask for her need to be met, which is, are you being nice to each other? So you can see the here and now manifests in that situation. So for instance, I interrupted Mr. Gonsalves, right? And I said, no rescuing. I didn't have time to check with him about how he received that. That was a stroke from me. It could be seen as a negative stroke. And what did it do to him? Did he continue to participate? Did he withdraw? All that we can discuss. There's ample to do. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I have
in a group.
Aarti here.
Aarti, and who was the next after that? Was it Abhijit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aarti, go ahead.
Yeah, Aarti.
I was wondering, what if the strokes become negative, like negative, unconditional? What if it takes that trait?
We have a ground rule, right? No critical parent.
I was wondering, what if someone's sharing that they're angry?
Sharing they're angry is not necessarily a negative stroke. Another might welcome it. We're just saying no critical parent. We are not saying no negative strokes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anger has a place in intimacy, right? If I can share, I'm angry with you, and another can accept my anger, it is a moment of intimacy. They may not do but if they receive my anger with treating it as important data, it's an experience of intimacy.
What if their process to discount the anger?
We'll work with that. we'll talk about what's going on. Yeah. So we learn how to express that in a way that's okay.
Right.
Because we're not, so it's not, if it's a critical parent discounting, then the whole group holds the process, including the receiver. Person can say, I'm experiencing this as critical. So we might ask the person to express the anger again without the critical component, owning their internal response to it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Abhijit.
Aruna, if the group is not TA trainees, but say clients, then would the design change or it would just remain same?
I think it will need to change. We need to teach them theory, scripts, games, drivers. So some teaching. They should have at least gone through a TA 101, I feel, even if they are not in TA training. Yeah. Even I give them homework like diagram and ulterior transaction. At least the TA 101 they should have done. I don't, but yeah, we can do it. So this is, as I said, no, this is just one paper, one sheet that Claude Steiner has written. We can experiment it with any way we like. If some of you do it with people who've not been trained, I'm thinking, why would they even value this? They might not understand what strokes are, but it might work. I don't know. I don't know, close that possibility.
I guess Cloud Standard did it with not necessarily trainees, right? If I remember.
No, they were all people who.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aruna,
in some way. I don't know if it's, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have information. Yeah. Yes. Who was asking? Yes, Shireen.
Sukanya. Okay.
Go ahead, Sukanya. I'll ask.
Okay, should I?
Yes, go ahead, and then Shireen.
Okay.
Yeah.
As Aarti said, sharing anger, and you replied saying that sharing anger can also be a positive stroke. Just so connecting to probably lives. That's why probably in couples sometimes it's said that fight it out, and then probably you guys will come closer. So is it also is it connected to that? Like when we say that fights and anger can also be a positive stroke.
Yeah, anger is not criticism, right? Anger is I want to share what I am experiencing. So sharing, so if I can tell a person I'm feeling angry in a very okay manner, the other person might value the trust and the openness. They'd prefer that direct sharing to my sulking or gossiping or being passive aggressive. Yeah. So if there's no rule, we said whether a stroke is positive or negative depends on the receiver.
Right.
But
that
intimacy,
answers,
we
yes.
say intimacy is really talking about what's going on between us without fear that we will be manipulated. Yeah, that with trust that we will be accepted and understood. I know it's already 8 o'clock, so I'll answer Shireen's question and then we'll close.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, like Abhijit was saying, people who don't know about TA, I have no knowledge of TA, but I did find this very interesting, and I can see the benefits of it.
Lovely.
So,
lovely.
yeah, so I think it's valuable to everybody rather than just people who know about TA.
I'm going to treasure this and experiment with the group which has just attended a 101 who are not in TA training. And
So I haven't attended either. I would like to be a part of the group if you can.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do something.
Yeah.
We must
Just
close.
one
I know
question.
Prakash. Okay, last Prakash. After that,
Sure,
no
sure.
more. Yes.
I'm so sorry. I mean, so
That's
sorry
okay.
for
Okay, go ahead.
stretching on time on here. So just frankly, one question here, which is kind of intriguing in mind at this point in time, which is, see, because in real life, we don't have cooperative contracts. People don't know about it, right? People who are not trained.
Yeah.
Is it really possible to practice this in real life with people around us?
Say, there's no absolute answer to that. I will practice it. So it's different for each person. So you have to choose. You have to make, see, finally you have to protect yourself and act in ways that you feel safe. If you feel safe directly asking, so if I give that Krishna, Yamini example, if you learn to say, hey, I want to be included, you learn that in the group instead of hemming and hawing or hinting at it. You just use that. You learn to be more direct. Yeah, you learn to ask for what you need. You learn to give negative feedback in an okay manner. Use it to the extent that you can in the real world. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, folks, for such involved, engaged participation. I hope you all had fun. Please write for Sajda. Please read Sajda. And we have a conference September 23rd, 24th. Block your dates. We'll announce the website. We'll announce the brochure soon. And hope you can all apply for the early bird. Yeah. See you all. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Aruna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aruna.
Thank you, Aruna.
Bye,
Excellent.
everyone.
Excellent session.
Thank you,
you.
Aruna.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.